Welcome to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
Kamala Harris, what do we know about her?
Kamala Harris, very competent woman, very strong, very good mind, did a great job as Attorney General, ran for Senate. What's interesting about her is that she has not won anything at the national level until she ran for Vice President. She was one of the first. She was the first to drop out of the entire slate of Democratic candidates. What were there, 20-something of them, maybe almost 30, who ran in the primary? She was the first one to drop out. She did not win a state. She's not done well on her own. When he picked her up, made her his vice presidential nominee, she fit a certain mode. She fit a certain style. She fit a certain position. She was in the right setting. So she's very left-leaning. She was a good prosecutor. She's a law and order person. She gets it. But she is left-leaning. The most disturbing thing I've ever watched was when it comes to her was there was a Roman Catholic man who was a judicial nominee, and she was in the Senate hearings. And she took his head off for being Roman Catholic, and she took his head off for being in the Knights of Columbus, which is a men's organization in the Roman Catholic Church, basically a benevolence organization, a charity. And she just decapitated him because both of those were bigoted against women because they were bigoted against abortion. Here's a tenet of this man's faith, and she, coming from the left, is taking his head off. Now, by the way, a quarter to 30% of the Americans are Roman Catholic. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge number. It's a huge number at some level. And then, of course, worldwide, that's massive. 1.5 billion, I'm sorry. A lot of people. And so here she is. She's taken his head off for being Roman Catholic. Well, because it was done behind closed doors, and most people don't read about Senate proceedings. Most people don't know that. But that's where she is. So she's got some strengths. She'll do well. Fortunately, as one of our vice presidents said, being vice president's about as meaningful as a bucket of warm spit. Mm-hmm. So she'll go to funerals, she'll fly the flag, she'll be this articulate African-American woman. And not just, I don't mean she's just eye candy. I mean, she's gonna be good in those roles, but she won't be defining policy other than her influence on Biden. And that's where the weak point comes in for those of us who are right of center, is that he's so malleable, and she will play a role in convincing him.
Okay, so in other president, vice president scenario, the vice president is usually not nearly as influential, but we expect Kamala Harris to be quite a bit more influential with the Biden-Harris ticket.
He would be a fool to have asked her to run for vice president and then think he's going to shut her down.
Yeah, exactly.
He obviously enlisted her because he wants her counsel and wants her to have a quote unquote place at the table. If he doesn't, she's going to be a pain to him.
Yes.
She's not going to be, this is not a woman who's going to be quiet. And I'm not saying women should be barefoot breaking to the kitchen. I'm just saying this is an articulate, outspoken woman. You are not going to shut her down. You invite her to the party because you plan for her to be the life of the party. And she's far more dynamic than he is when she cuts loose. She's just been keeping quiet during the campaign.
Yeah, and what's interesting about her is, she's going to play the criminal justice reform, kind of the social aspect here. But in this book, The Usual Cruelty, The Complicity of Lawyers in the Criminal Justice System by Alec Karakatanis, who is very left, I think, seems to be anyway. He says, when I first encountered Harris, she had spent her prosecutorial career using the cash bail system in California to illegally jail thousands of impoverished people, to extract tens of millions of dollars every year from the poorest families in California for the for-profit bail industry, and to coerce guilty pleas through illegal pretrial detention. But then he makes the point that, and I predict that Harris, despite not having sought accountability for her past actions, will seek higher public office on platforms of criminal justice reform with proposals that would do little to remake our punishment bureaucracy. Indeed, when Harris announced her candidacy for president a few days ago, and of course she withdrew and now she's VP, the leader, blah, blah, blah. A leader of a major national civil rights organization that works on criminal justice reform issues praised Harris's prosecutorial record. But her prosecutorial record is not very left, right? I mean, she was pretty harsh. She was pretty harsh as a prosecutor. Is that correct? So, I mean, you kind of have this mix with her a little bit.
Yeah, the problem is that's one career ago. And she's vice president now. She was in the Senate, one of the most left-leaning people in the Senate. And her prosecutorial career was at a state level. And in California, if you just prosecute crime, you look conservative. I mean, if you just go after anybody. So she was aggressive. She was hard-hitting. She was making a career. She's a good lawyer. She's good at that role. And if conservatives only looked at that, they'd say, well, she's maybe not my full cup of tea, but she did pretty well. She's going after criminals. But then in the Senate, when she's dealing with more national policy, broader philosophical issues rather than just the execution of the law, she leaned very left, and so she's hardly distinguishable from AOC and the squad. So I think that's it's that, she's basically the same in that sense as Biden. There's a mixture in their careers, and people can look at what they want to look at. It's like the image of the old saw about John F. Kennedy. Everybody sees in John F. Kennedy what they want to see. You want to see a conservative anti-communist? You got it. You want to see a leftist, who's up and king and refashioning the tax code? You've got it. Whatever you want to see. You want to see a rich boy going around sleeping with everybody and doing nothing in office? You got it. He's a reflection of what you want. And that's kind of the way politics is. People want to see themselves in who's running. And it's very possible for them to see themselves in both Joe and Kamala. Look, for example, at how many people resonate with Joe Biden because of the deaths that he's endured.
Right.
And I do not want to be callous about that. I've had a lot of deaths in my life as well. But my point is that they see themselves in that. They don't even ask any other questions. It's not about where is he on abortion. Hey, he suffered a lot, so he's going to feel my pain.
Yes.
And that wins in American politics.
Yes. And her father was Jamaican, mother was from India, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And you had made a comment, I think, on one of your podcasts that what did you say? Something along the lines.
Something brilliant, I'm sure.
It was super brilliant. It was you tend to like people that you don't necessarily agree with, which that is put very well, because to be honest, I sort of like Kamala Harris. Like, I kind of like her personality. She's well spoken. She's articulate. I don't know that I like her politics, although, to be frank, I don't know that much about her.
Sure.
I feel like I'm still learning more about her.
We all are.
Even Joe Biden. I mean, I guess this is what you're talking about. Like, if you want to have a beer with someone, you'd probably go Biden over Trump.
there's
I mean,
no
Trump
question.
would be interesting. It'd probably be a good time, but you might not want him around your family. So, but Kamala Harris. So her, so she's likable. She's articulate. She's beautiful, by the way. I mean, I just think
she dances well. She's got a great smile. I mean, she's all the things you want from that perspective.
Yes. Do you think that really helps in politics to be good looking?
Oh yes.
So it's a plus.
Oh yes.
If you don't have it, you still plow ahead.
At least have a distinctive look, if not having a really being attractive. This is an attractive woman. There's just no question about that. And please don't anybody hear me saying that she got where she's gotten because she's pretty. That is not the case. This is a very competent woman, very strong. But absolutely, I mean, what do they call they call one of the big gatherings in D.C. Hollywood for ugly people, but it's not really true. It's not really true that D.C. is just Hollywood for ugly people. It's a lot about looks. It's a lot about looks, and there's not anybody who is. I mean, I will tell you frankly, there are some people who are really, really good people, and they're not attractive personalities. They're not articulate. They're not good looking. And even though they do amazing things, they don't get the attention the others do. It's just reality.
Maybe that's part of Mitch McConnell's thing. I mean, I don't think he's the best looking guy you've ever seen.
He's not.